So science fiction is not going to remain fiction long because we have this inventive capacity, this genius for innovation, for creation. And I know that what's science fiction today will be a reality, let's hope in a decade, in 50 years, I mean in 10 years, so that we can celebrate some new advances on the golden anniversary of Star Trek. And now with that, let's open it up for dialogue, your thoughts and questions and even complaints. Yes?
Actually, I don't so much have a question. I want to say thank you, and it's for 3 reasons. First of all, for being here. I
love being here. I mean, isn't it wonderful to stand on stage and have people love you?
Been made to feel like a nerd because I love Star Trek, and that was like that was my biggest influence, my teenage and high school and all that years.
Do you know that the nerds rule today? Steve Jobs was a nerd. He's now, Mr. Apple, Bill Gates was a nerd. He was a geeky nerd. He's a multi-billionaire giving money away to, promote medical research. So don't worry, you'll rule.
The reason I wanted to thank you was because basically giving the big F you to
Oh, I gave it to somebody else too.
Not just you, but other people as well, takes it upon himself to show the power of the fans. That's just awesome. I love that.
And you guys are muscular.
Too. The third reason, and it's the closest to my heart, is what you did earlier this year, latter part of last year, and coming out.
This is wonderful to get this kind of expression of support, and thank you for making that observation. But, actually, my partner and I have been together for 19 years, almost 20 now. And thank you. And we have been out with family and friends and my Star Trek colleagues. We've had Walter and his wife over for dinner, and Nichelle over for dinner, and Jimmy Doohan and his wife, and we've been over to their homes, and we've supported nonprofits and had our, they have donor walls, and both our names have been carved in granite, literally, together, So we've been out. The only thing I had not done is talk to the press, because they are a whole different ballgame. But I talked to the press for the first time last year, which people, thought was my coming out. I did that because of a historic event that happened in California. Our state legislature passed a same-sex marriage bill, which was a landmark in American history. Never happened before, all across the country. In Massachusetts, same-sex marriage happened through the judicial process, not the legislative. And all that was required was the signature of our governor, who people know as a movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he vetoed that, reneging on all the political promises he'd made, I felt I needed to speak out and my voice needed to be genuine. So I spoke to the press. And so, yes, last year was not my coming out. We've been out. But when I spoke to the press, the world changed. And thank you. And I decided to follow that gung-ho, and I was the the advocate or the speaker for the Human Rights Campaign, which is the biggest and most effective lobbying group for gays, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender in Washington, D.C. And I went on a month-long speaking tour all over the country, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, from the Canadian border to the Mexican border. And that too was very, very fulfilling, to speak on the most relevant issue domestically in this country, which is equality for the GLBT community. And the support has been very, very strong. This is the great civil rights issue of our generation today. So thank you very much for your comment, and thank you for your very supportive words, and thank you all for that expression of support. Yes? With who? Well, I was very excited because, you know, I'd met Gene Roddenberry first, and he was the one that cast me. I consider him a very intelligent man of great taste and high standards. And he extended that to all the rest of the cast. You know, I think he brought together a wonderful group of actors. And I'd seen both Leonard and Bill on stage before I was cast in Star Trek. I was a struggling young actor in New York in the early 60s. And what I would do is, during intermission, when the theater was letting out, I would sneak in and stand where the standing room was and watch plays. And one of them was a play called A Shot in the Dark, starring Julie Harris and Walter Matthau. And the young male character was played by Bill Shatner. And so, you know, and I thought he was a very interesting young actor. In Hollywood, we have a lot of little theaters, and at one of the little theaters on Santa Monica Boulevard, they were doing a play by Jean Genet called, oh, I blanked out on the title. It's about, those of you that know Genet plays, three guys in prison confined together in a cell, and Leonard Nimoy was in that play. He played the very sullen, quiet, seething, intellectual prisoner. Very much like Leonard. Not seething, but, you know, quiet and intellectual. And I was very impressed by Leonard's performance. And Michael Force was in it too. And he was the muscular kind of, you know, the cock of the walk type character in that three. Cock of the walk. Rooster of the walk. It goes, he takes it in a whole different context altogether. A rooster. And so I'd seen both as actors before and been impressed by both. And, you know, to know that I was going to be working with them was very, very exciting. Over the years, I've come to have growing respect and admiration and affection for Leonard. He is not only a wonderful actor, but he is, well, you've seen his directorial ability in the films that he directed, and also his work habits. Because when you're acting and directing at the same time, I mean, it is a tremendous demand on your creative energy as well as your time. And, you know, I'd see him, when I came into makeup, Leonard was already there, but he had the script on his lap. And he was, you know, memorizing the lines for the day. And then the assistant would come in periodically. He would give him instructions on how he wanted to shoot the scenes as a director for that day. And so he was, you know, thinking on two tracks. And we actors, although we say, you know, oh, that scene was a very draining scene, and I got to go to the dressing room and relax, you know, between shots. The director has to stay on the set.